Dr. Veronica Garcia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
When you and I first talked after your appointment as the state's first public education secretary, this is back in 2003,
Correct.
there was a lot of excitement around accountability and education reform. Today, that's almost all gone. What happened?
Well, I don't know if I can even answer that question, what happened. I think we've taken for granted some of the groundwork that what it took to be able to even have accountability. We didn't even have a unique student identifier where we could follow kids from one school to another. We didn't have the infrastructure built for all of that. And then, we put those things in place to have better accountability and transparency. And then we had NCLB. And I think that
No Child Left Behind,
No
right?
Child Left Behind. And it was set up in a paradigm that eventually no one was going to make AYP. It cratered under its own weight. And since then, I think that at the federal level and at the state level, the only consistent, I think, accountability measure that we've had is NAEP. And kids don't take it seriously, teachers don't take it seriously because you don't track to the classroom, to the school or the district. And so, to the school rather. And so I think that with the constant changes in assessments, people gear up for an assessment and then it's changed after 4 or 5 years and whatnot. And I just think people sometimes don't see the relevance.
And NAEP is the National Report Card, correct?
Yes, the National Assessment for Educational Progress, which under the federal government now, I don't know, will continue.
Right. You came into office after voters approved scrapping the old elected education board with the state superintendent. Now there are some Democrats, who want to bring this back. What was the problem with the old system?
The system before we had a cabinet level secretary?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I think because we had elected and then appointed members and from various parts of the state, and I want you to think of a paradigm with a public school superintendent. APS is an anomaly with 7 board members. Most have 5, right? That's tough enough managing a board of 5. Can you imagine having 12 and 15 board members or 17 to answer to who are trying to coalesce around an agenda? And I think to have done something under this current state of where we are in politics in the country, the vitriol, the divisiveness, to try to move an agenda forward, I think would be very, very difficult. The accountability right now is with the secretary and the governor, and ultimately the governor, right? You don't like where education is going, don't re-elect them. With a 15 or a 13 member board, it's diffused. And then, there's the other part of it that people forget, that the public ed department is an agency or a department within a larger state bureaucracy. And if you need a purchase order approved or money being transferred in or out, you got to go to DFA. You want to hire somebody, you got to go to the state personnel office. You need cars, you got to go to another department. You're not on the level playing field with them anymore if you're not part of the governor's cabinet. And so I think that made a huge difference, to have access to the executive, and you have to coordinate with all these various departments. Being a colleague and a co-equal there makes a huge difference. So I thought it was a bad move to go back.
Well, some Democrats actually want to bring that system back because
I know.
they say there's instability at the PED.
Well, because there's been turnover in recent times, but I think that there are turnovers in other departments. Nobody else is clamoring for those to be changed, right?
Okay. You were a stable PED secretary
7 years.
7 years, and even under Republican.
And my position only was there because the first year it was not there.
Right.
Yeah.
And and then Governor Martinez had 2.
2.
And this administration, you've had 6 changes in 6 years. What does that turnover say? And what should we, how does this shift public education here?
Well, I can't really judge why those decisions were made or what that says, but I think that there has been a through line in terms of what the governor wants to accomplish, and that's important. But it is difficult to adjust to various personalities for the people out at the schools in terms of how the PET operates, right, and the infrastructure that they set for communicating with school districts.
Now, I remember your first town hall meeting, 03, 04, if I remember correctly. It was at Burnley High School. And this is a school district with a large Native American population.
You have a great memory.
Yeah. But I remember you posting, in the talk, you posted the proficiency scores of students in math and reading, and there was silence in the room. And you basically said, now you know the data, now you know we have work to do, right? Unfortunately, we're not seeing those gains we want. And despite, the court order, Yazzie Martinez, what is stopping us at that moment?
Well, I have a theory that I think is based in research, and that is that we passed, I can't remember the year, if it was 04, I think it was 04, maybe 05, the Pre-K Act. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And it was for universal pre-K. And we worked with Diane Denish and CYFD and PED. The governor gave that to the lieutenant governor to spearhead, and we got it passed, and we had a rollout. And it was supposed to be done in 4 years, and then we compromised to a 7-year rollout. And guess what happened in 08? We had a recession, and it stopped. The funding stopped, and we lost, a whole decade of kids that we did not provide universal pre-K. Because so many of our kids come to school not ever even knowing how to open a book. Not read to, don't know their colors, they don't know their basic letters, their numbers. And the research tells us that kids who are in pre-K are most likely to be reading by 3rd grade. What happens when you're reading in 3rd grade? You're most likely to graduate from high school. And we, when I was at Voices, we brought in, top economists, ones with a Nobel Prize winner, and talked about the return on investment. So we can invest in Wall Street, or we can invest in our kids. For every dollar you invest, you get $8 back. And so now that we do have universal pre-K, and I pray to God that the economy, we don't go into a recession again, and now we stop the funding, although now it's coming from the permanent fund. It took us, because I worked with Alan Sanchez, I'm on that board, for getting the constitutional amendment for universal pre-K very popular. And I think that's going to make a difference. I really do. And if we can just stick with it, I think we're going to see these kids who are in pre-K making the gains that we need, because they're getting a fresh start. They're getting started while the brain is still developing, and we still have chances to mitigate the impacts of poverty for these children.
Since you left the PED, New Mexico consistently is ranked 49th and 50th on a lot of benchmarks in education. You have a problem with those rankings. Why?
Well, and I've talked to people from the Casey Foundation, because it's a zero-sum game. If let's say we all improve by 10%, or let's just say we all improve by 30%, somebody's still going to be at the bottom, even if it's a fractional percentage point. I feel like we should have a standard, like to be an A state, you have to have these factors, or a B, or a C, or platinum, silver, gold. Label it however you want. But should we want all states to have certain benchmarks and meet those criteria? And we don't do that with kids in school. We don't say, all right, well, you're number one in your class. Well, we do for graduating,
Sure.
but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Everybody could get an A if they strive and meet those standards. I think that it has done more harm, because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If people look at you and say, oh my God, you're still 50th, you're 49th. Why do we want to bring our companies here to invest in your state? Why would they want to relocate their families if your educational system is failing? Because if you look at the percentage points, there's some of the variation is fairly small, but you still got to rank them 1 through 50. I think it's done more harm than good.
Sure. This legislative session, we didn't get a lot of major education reforms. There was not a lot of bold thinking. I think of class size, a number of things. The Yahtzee Martinez wasn't addressed. What is stopping from us thinking boldly on ed reform?
Well, one of the tough parts, when we look at medicine, right, doctors or law, most of us have not been working in law offices for 12 years of our lives or spent, 12 years of our lives at the dentist, but everybody spent 12 years of their lives in school, and everybody believes they're an expert. And I don't think that oftentimes we really listen to the people that do the work about what they think could make a bold and big difference. Was one problem. The second is that it's poverty is a huge issue. If we look at most school districts, and if you look at even the district that I'm helping with right now is Santa Fe. I'm as interim superintendent right now. If we look at zip code, we've got schools at 80th percentile, 75th percentile proficient, right? Some approaching 90%. And then when we look where proficiency is lower, it's in lower income communities, children who speak a language other than English. And I think that's what Yahtzee Martinez was trying to address, is that from an equity perspective, we have to do more for those kids to level the playing field, to give them a real shot. And this is where I think pre-K is going to be one of those things that's going to have high impact. I think I think that the Indian Education Act and this tribal trust fund that we're looking at, is that when you lose the language, you lose the culture. If kids don't feel good about who they are as human beings, that also impacts them, right? And so it's taking time. I think there's been tremendous investment, but we still have a way to go. But I think we're on the right path.
Dr. Garcia, you're now the interim superintendent for Santa Fe Public Schools as they look for their next leader. You've been in education for nearly half a century, right?
Yes.
It seems like a long time, but you're, semi-retired and you're still in the game. After all these years, what keeps you hopeful that we're going to see ed reform, that as we move on, more kids are going to be able to read, more kids are going to be able to do well in math? What keeps you so hopeful that we're going to get to that spot?
Well, when you lose hope, you've lost it all, right? And when I see young people and I talk to them and I see the things that they accomplish and how smart they are, and I see kindergartners and first graders coding and doing robotics, and kids applying for scholarships, to go to Ivy League schools, and that are able to graduate from high school and be an LPN and have an associate's degree. I think that the test scores sometimes don't really tell us the whole picture of how our kids are doing. And there are amazing things happening. And I just feel, I see the dedicated teachers and principals and across the state, because I still work with people, around the state. I still do executive coaching with aspiring superintendents. And there's people that still have a fire in the belly for education and the power and what difference it can make. And all of that combined, and I am very hopeful for the young leaders that I see in the legislature and the young leaders coming up, and I say young in comparison to myself, that are going to be superintendents and leaders in their schools, and they give me great hope.
Dr. Garcia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.